You're listening to Your Brain on Air. The program will begin shortly. Enjoy.
OEDZONI Kuaina Transmetti Programi Dr. Fioria Sashpeiti Shiuyin.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Your Brain on Air. I am your host, Ollie Vogt Larson. Everything is going well. Life is good. And just like 9/11, it was a Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Tuesday. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all my listeners. And was it 12% of myself, according to genealogy. Thank you very much. Not 23andMe. I don't trust that bitch. Susan Wojcicki's sister. Is Susan Wojcicki the one who died? If anybody doesn't know, Susan Wojcicki. This woman, her name is not spelled the way that you would assume. She was an American business professional, and she was the former CEO of YouTube from 2014 to 2023. She eventually died, unfortunately, of cancer. Rest in peace to her. I believe it was cancer. Here, let me see. It was from non-small cell lung cancer after a 2-year battle with the disease. She was 56 years old. It was very, very sad. It was unfortunate to lose her. And her sister, Ann Wojcicki, I believe she is the sister. Yes, she is the founder and co-founder and personal of the personal genomics company 23andMe. When I first heard about this revelation that this family is kind of really big into tech, they're all over the place, and the last name Wojcicki, I don't know, something was just weird about it. And honestly, personally, when I saw the Smosh movie, I said Steve YouTube is who I think should be in charge of that company. Quite frankly, I liked the you went under my desk and I made you look at my dick joke. That was funny. It was funny and no one else found it to be funny, but I will stand up. Steve YouTube, he is the funniest character in that movie. He carries it. Grandma's Boy, if you've seen the one character played by Nick Swardson who's afraid of the sun, you need that goofy kind of character. Nick Swardson plays that in a lot of movies. He did that for Grown Ups 2, where he was like that bus driver and he's like, there's a raft in there, and then it like blows up and almost kills him or something. He was funny in that movie. He does slapstick comedy very well. And then he kissed the dog at the very end. That was... I never like the kissing the dog jokes. They're always gross, you know what? And they always taken too goddamn far. They always let the dog get the tongue near the fucking teeth. You know what I mean? It's disgusting. I understand that it's for a film. I understand it's to be goofy, but it's too far. Certain levels of gross out comedy for me are too gross. I'll admit it. I can't watch Pink Flamingos. Is it Jesse Waters? What is his name? Something Waters. No, not Jesse Waters. That's the Fox News guy. Waters, director. John Waters. Jesus, yes. I can't watch any of his movies, unfortunately. Listen, I understand that he has a flavor. Crybaby, Serial Mom, Hairspray, Female Trouble, all that bullshit. Yeah. Pink Flamingos. I'm disgusted by most of his films. I'm not saying anybody else can't watch it. I just personally will call it good on that. Because I don't know. I'm not saying I'm higher brow. I'm nothing. I literally, my taste is no better than anybody else's. But I'm just saying it's not for me. Ladies and gentlemen, but you know what is for me? Covering what is going on in Iran. Because there's some new developments that are going to make your head spin. If you are one of those people that's in, you keep up with the news with the LGB community. And there is no T or Q. I heard that there is a civil war going on because the LGBs, the lesbians, the gays, and the bisexuals, they are like, hey, our thing is like oriented around sex being a real thing. It's a thing that you can't really change. We understand that there's hermaphroditical people. They're very rare, the people with the chromosome disorders. And they're going like, hey, we're going to go back to the idea that there's binary genders and whatnot. The T and the Q, the two spirits, all that are in the direction more of like, this is non-binary. This is like, you can be you can go between the lines. And if you're not attracted to certain people, it can mean that you have underlying prejudices. It's like a whole new lane. And the LGBs, they're just missing the days when they could fly the flag. They could run down San Francisco Avenue or something. I don't know. I don't know if that's even a street, but I assume there is. But San Francisco, that was like gay capital back in the 80s, 90s, even before then, 60s, 70s. They would just chill. They would, back then you could get arrested for being gay. I mean, not that far, actually further back then. Eventually we got, it was not as barbaric, but it was a level of draconian that, it just shouldn't have been, quite frankly. Anyway, I had a point that I was going with here. Yes, if you're involved in the LGB community, if you care about gay rights, if you care about the gay marriage, if you care about any of that, this is actually very curious because we have some intel. I'm not sure whether or not this is true. It's coming from sources out there. Mainstream media is even reporting on it, but it's mostly coming from intels that we apparently have in the Iranian government that the new supreme leader is allegedly on the gay side of the street, ladies and gentlemen, and the tensions escalating over the Strait of Hormuz. We're going to cover all of it, so let's just get into it right now. Go. Tensions are escalating over the Strait of Hormuz. The new supreme leader is allegedly gay, and top Trump counterterrorism official is resigning over the Iranian war. Let's cover all of it because the Iranian war has effectively shut down the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow choke point, as you know, that carries about 1/5 of the world's traded oil. Since early March, Iranian forces have declared the strait as closed. They're launching attacks on commercial vessels, tankers, and cargo ships trying to pass through. Shipping traffic has plummeted and oil prices are surging past critical levels. Global markets are feeling the pain as well, with higher energy costs rippling everywhere. President Trump has been pushing allies to send warships to reopen the route and protect shipping routes. There have been many traditional partners like Australia and others that are refusing to join, leaving the U.S. largely in its own high-stakes naval standoff in the region. So, if you are, nervous about gas prices going up, you should be. If you're nervous about your Amazon packages taking a little bit longer because petrol is a little more expensive, there's going to be delays. There's delays in everything, guys. This is just, you can survive. We all can survive. That unless, of course, you were just living on the edge of things and that, you were maybe a couple cents away from not being able to afford bread. I can understand you being nervous. I get it. This is war times are never easy, ladies and gentlemen. But adding to the fuel of the fire, this bombshell intelligence leak about Iran's new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, the son of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who was killed in the early days of the conflict. According to reports from U.S. intelligence briefed to President Trump, Mojtaba may be gay, with claims that his father once worried about this making him unsuitable to rule the Islamic Republic. The president reportedly reacted with surprise and laughter during a briefing. These unverified personal allegations have exploded across media and social media platforms, turning the serious geopolitical crisis into a tabloid-style chaos. They're drawing reactions from the LGBTQ plus groups, joking about welcoming an unexpected icon. Tehran has not commented about it, but the rumor is amplifying about the internal regime's instability and questions about their future leadership amid the war. Let's play a little bit of clips from GMA because they probably know how to inform you a little bit better than I do.
This morning, Israel says they've killed Iran's security chief, Ali Larijani.
Of the regime. Just days ago, in a show of defiance, he appeared in a public march when a strike landed nearby.
That didn't go well.
Alongside him, Golem Reza Soleimani, the head of the Basij, the religious militia responsible for the brutal suppression of protesters.
Oof.
Meantime, Iran unleashed a wave of new attacks across the region overnight.
Uh-oh.
A drone struck this hotel in Baghdad, not far from the US Embassy, setting off a fiery explosion. And another attack targeted the US Embassy itself. Iraqi officials say air defense systems shot down a rocket nearby. Multiple waves of Iranian attacks. Officials call it the most intense assault since the war began. At least 5 drones used. And this morning, new concerns over Iran's targeting of radar systems, which act as early detection for air defense in the region. New satellite images appear to show that Iran has hit these sites multiple times with precision. The before on the left and on the right.
So there is one of the site that looks in pretty decent condition. I believe that's one on the left. And on the right, we just have buildings that look all over the place. There's debris. There's kind of dirt all over the ground. It looks like it's pieces of concrete. It looks like a mess.
Holes visible in the roofs. The third week of war, and Iran is still able to cause chaos. Its blockade of the vital shipping lane at the Strait of Hormuz, deepening the oil crisis. President Trump may have gone to war without key U.S. allies. Now he's blasting them for refusing to help reopen the strait. Trump himself says his calls for allied support are a loyalty test.
I'm almost doing it in some cases, not because we need them, but because I want to find out how they react.
America's allies insist it's not their fight. Italy is calling for diplomacy, while other NATO members are backing out entirely. Germany has refused to send help, saying it's not our war.
We can't be at every place to support a war which we didn't start it.
The British Prime Minister sharing a similar sentiment.
We will not be drawn into the wider war.
But Trump is pressing forward, claiming America can go it alone.
We're the strongest nation in the world. We have the strongest military by far in the world. We don't need them.
The president has also claimed he discussed the war with a former U.S. president. He refused to reveal which one. Former presidents Clinton, Obama, and Biden have told ABC News they have not spoken with him recently.
Maybe he's talking about how he had a private meeting with Jimmy before he went ahead and croaked out, because he left right around the time Skibbity Toilet left Fortnite. So it could have been within the last few years that he went over to Jimmy's residence, and they were like, yeah, he's kind of there. If you look at him, sometimes his eyes will open, and if you talk real loud, he might give you a smile. But he went and he talked it out with Jimmy, and he was like, hey, but Jimmy, I'm really thinking about it. I want to have a Middle East crisis on par with yours. Your hostage crisis, it's one of the greatest envies. Bush tried to replicate something nearly as terrible, and he got a lot of people killed, a lot of innocent people. But I want to have a disaster the likes of which we've never seen in this country, the likes of which is going to ruin the economy. It's going to ruin people's lives, and I need inspiration from one of the worst presidents still in living memory, ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy Carter.
And Trump confirmed that it wasn't Bush.
Oh, damn it.
And the war's second front in Lebanon is
I can understand avoiding Bush for advice on Middle East conflicts. Maybe he went to Cheney, because technically Cheney he was acting president for just a couple hours, but whatever.
Thousands of Israeli troops have now moved into southern Lebanon to take...
I'm actually going to look that up because I want to make sure I'm not incorrect. How long was Dick Cheney... Because I remember he was acting president at one point. Cheney, acting president. Give me the answer, Google. He was acting president twice for a total of approximately 4 hours and 30 minutes while President George W. Bush underwent colonoscopies. Both instances occurred under the 25th Amendment. Curious. Well, there you go. There's your answer.
The UN is calling for de-escalation.
Could have been Dick Cheney.
Over the 1 million Lebanese who've now been forced from their homes. Robin.
All right, James. Our thanks to you for your...
Thank you, James. Let's hear a little bit about this intel that the Supreme Leader is probably, maybe gay? I don't know.
President Trump was stunned to learn that U.S. intelligence indicates new Iranian Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei may be gay, and that his father, the late Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, feared his suitability to rule the Islamic Republic for that reason. The Post can reveal. Trump couldn't contain a surprise and laughed aloud when he was briefed on the intel, according to sources. Others in the room also found it, quote, hilarious, and joined the president's reaction, while one senior intelligence official has not stopped laughing about it for days, said one
Stephen
person
Miller
familiar with the briefing. The shocking claim was described to the Post by 2 intelligence community officials and a third person close to the White House. All 3 sources say the implausible-sounding allegation is viewed as credible by U.S. spy agencies. 2 of the sources said the intelligence indicates that Mojtaba has had a...
Maybe they go in a liberal direction. Can you imagine? Iran is they're having pride parades in a few years. Can you imagine? God, I sound like I'm on some old TV show.
Long-term sexual relationship with his childhood tutor.
What are we saying?
Mojtaba has had a long-term sexual relationship with his childhood tutor.
Mojtaba has had a long-term sexual relationship with his childhood tutor. What does this mean?
Sounding allegation is viewed as credible.
Run that by me.
Spy agencies. 2 of the sources said the intelligence indicates that Mojtaba has had a long-term sexual relationship with his childhood tutor.
I guess maybe not in their country. I don't think it's illegal. I don't know. That's Isn't that grooming?
The third source said the intelligence indicated the affair was with a person who formerly worked for the Khamenei family.
Khamenei.
Mojtaba, who is believed to have been wounded in the same February 28th airstrike that killed his father and other members.
By the way, he looks gay. Can we just say it? Okay, his father, gray. His father, by the way, clearly didn't try to avoid the wrinkles. He had that notoriously really deep one in the middle of his brow that looks like he was angry or thinking all the time. Mojtaba, he is a bit of a queer eye. He's a queer eye for the straight guy. He has a very nice brow ridge. He's like, sweetie, I'm not going to be flexing my brow too much because you know that's going to create wrinkles and we ain't got no Botox in this country because it's just going to be botulism and it's just going to kill you. And he is smart. He's dialed in. He looks like one of the guys that would give you a haircut at the Mall of America. I'm not going to lie. You see some of these Persian men in the Mall of America, you know what and they look admittedly like really beautiful. Some of them, they have cleaner beards than any white guy could ever hope to have. They straight up look like they're carved. They look like the side decals of cars. You know what I mean? They look sprayed on. It's beautiful. I think that this gentleman could be a queer icon in the upcoming future.
His family has made aggressive sexual overtures to men caring for him, possibly while under the influence of heavy medication, the Post sources said. U.S. spy agencies do not have photographic evidence of the 56-year-old's alleged sexual attraction to men, but the sources insisted the tip is solid, with one saying it was derived from one of the most protected sources that the government has. The fact that this was elevated to the highest of high levels shows you there's some confidence in this, added a second source.
Well, that's just, it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. Closer to home, let's stop covering the queer eye, because I'm just going to say it. I think he's going to have pictures of himself. He's going to have t-shirts being sold where you're going to go to Minneapolis Pride and you're going to see people selling t-shirts with Mojtaba Khamenei, the new Ayatollah of Iran, with his face right on the front, and you're going to love it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's cover this story that's closer to home with a major shakeup in the Trump administration. Joe Kent, one of the most basic names in the administration, director of the National Counterterrorism Center, and one of the president's top counterterrorism officials, has resigned in protest over the Iran war. In his letter, Kent said that he cannot in good conscience support the conflict, arguing that Iran posed no imminent threat to the United States, and that the war was driven more by pressure from allies like Israel than by direct American security needs. This was argued originally. Do you guys remember that clip of the Marine who, by the way, is an absolute, he is a freak. He wears the what's it called? The kafaya. He married a Palestinian woman. He's completely radicalized. He walks around with that usual garb and whatnot. We covered about how he's probably an Iranian plant as far as we can tell. I'm just being honest with you, whatever. I think that his point was not wrong, that no one wants to fight for Israel, and then they busted up his arm, because admittedly, not the time to make that point. You were not there for public comment. Blah, 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 blah. You can talk about how he has the right to speak, maybe during a public comment hearing, but that was not what that was. And that one woman was like, "You're like robots. None of you look at him." And it's like, yeah, well, because he's being escorted out and he's kind of a nuisance. He's like kind of making a big, bald, dumb idiot of himself. And it's unfortunate that he got his arm busted up. I'm sorry to hear that. But he's, what is he running for? I think he's running for a congressional seat or something in North Carolina. I don't know. I will get you further information on that. We actually have a clip about it on the clips section. It'll be on the YouTube channel somewhere. But he said that it's from pressure from people like Israel and rather than by direct American security needs. This is marking the first high-profile resignation from within the administration over the escalating fighting, highlighting the growing unease among the America First voices about the direction of the policy. Let's play this clip here.
And we have breaking news. Top counterterrorism official Joe Kent has resigned over President Trump's war with Iran. The director of the National Counterterrorism Center posted on social...
The director of the National Counterterrorism Center resigns because he does not morally agree with the war that we're in. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this is what winning feels like. Clearly, we're just not used to winning.
The media saying, quote, Iran posed no imminent threat to the U.S. He also says, it's clear we started this war due to pressure from Israel. Let's bring in White House correspondent Karen Travers for more on that.
Karen Travers.
Martinez and ABC's Patrick Reevell in Doha, Qatar as well. Heidi Wall. So, Louis, how significant is this resignation?
How
It's very
significant?
significant, Diane, because this is a senior U.S. counterterrorism official, a top intelligence official in the administration.
Yeah.
And he has been a very strong supporter of President Trump for quite some time. He's former Green Beret, former CIA. His wife.
He's former Green Brigade? What?
Supporter of President Trump for quite some time. He's former Green Beret, former CIA. His wife actually was killed in a terror attack in Manbij, Syria, 8 years ago. And so he heads the organization that would determine whether there is a terrorist threat to the United States. And the fact that he says there was no imminent threat is very significant, because one of the justifications that the Trump administration has used is saying that there...
You know what I think he's doing? He's getting out so that he can go, hey, I had no involvement. I'm ready to pledge myself as a brother to the regime.
Was an imminent threat being posed by Iran towards the United States. Now, they haven't specified exactly what they meant, but one of the things that they've pointed to is the nuclear threat, that Iran was on the verge of creating a nuclear weapon based off of their 400 kilograms of enriched uranium.
Yeah, sure.
So the fact that you have Joe Kent now offering his resignation is a strong indication of the division within the administration, potentially, of how the war is being carried out, and whether this goes against President Trump's campaign promises not to initiate a war and to end all endless wars. But again, very significant given his position, and especially I think the key thing to point out is his notion that there was no imminent threat to the United States being posed by Iran. And so I think that again points to divisions within the administration as we're now entering the third week in this conflict against Iran.
Oh boy. Yep. Entering our third week. Let's actually, I want to, one more thing before we move on, because we are going to move on. We're going to cover this new fun story about some teenagers that plotted to kill their friend, and they decided to be funny on camera. So we'll cover that eventually, but we're going to cover this, how Trump has announced that a congressman would be dead by June, in news that was not publicly known. I love this clip so much. I love this clip so much because he has no regard for people's privacy. There's never anything that is spoken in confidence around him, because everything will be spoken later out of confidence, quite frankly, out of his confidence. You can never say anything and expect it to be under a lock and key around him. And that's like the clip when, remember Rubio passed him something when it said, go back to Chevron, and he read it out loud because he didn't realize that it was a private note that was trying to instruct him to, push his speech back in the direction of some people. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I love when he has these moments where he has absolutely no concern or care for whatever, for whoever may be hearing this, for the person who has a terminal disease. Let's go ahead and let's actually cover this clip right here with Mike Johnson. Go.
But yeah, okay. Congressman Neil Dunn of Florida had some real health challenges, and it was very serious, and had a pretty grim diagnosis. And I mentioned it to the president, and I said, Congressman Dunn is a real champion and a patriot because he's still coming to work. And if others got this diagnosis, they would be apt to go home and retire. And
what was the diagnosis?
It was, I think it was a terminal diagnosis.
He would be dead by June.
Okay, that wasn't public, but yeah, okay.
Okay, that wasn't public, but yeah, okay. Great response from Mike Johnson. You absolutely handled that gracefully. I'm impressed with the level of tact that you both showed towards the situation. Let's begin covering probably our next story, because we don't have to all worry about the Strait of Hormuz the whole episode. The oil markets are volatile, the political fallout mounting. The world is watching closely, but we really don't have to. We got our slice of the real world for right now. Well, we're going to get some more of the real world, but we're heading down to Florida where things are a little bit less serious, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot wait for our next story. Let's begin. Go. Two teens plan a ritual killing at school. What body cam captured after the arrest was disturbing. In January, authorities in Altamonte Springs, Florida, arrested two teenage girls, 15-year-old Isabella Valdez, and 14-year-old Lois Lippert, both students at Lake Brantley High School, after an anonymous tip uncovered an alleged plot to murder a classmate. Prosecutors say that the plan involved a so-called blood blood ritual, with the teens reportedly discussing slitting the victim's throat and carrying out a violent act at school. That is, they sound like girls with a lot of time on their hands. Like maybe a summer activity would be wiser. The girls were quickly charged as adults with attempted premeditated murder, attempted felony murder, and related counts. A judge has kept them without bond held ever since, citing the seriousness of the allegations. What everyone is talking about, though, is the newly released body cam footage and the patrol car video right after the arrest. In the footage captured inside the police cruiser, the two teens can be heard laughing and joking and chatting casually about the experience. By the way, I'm going to review some of the video footage with you personally because I believe that these two girls are just having fun. They're just having fun trying to kill their friend. And then guess what? What else are you supposed to do if you and your buddy get arrested? Imagine you're in middle school and you make a plot to kill your friend. You know what I mean? Maybe it's a joke. Maybe it's a half joke with you and your friend where it's like, let's kill Brittany in a blood sacrifice and sacrifice her under the bleachers. And then, you get arrested because you accidentally use maybe the school email or something, and then they, send your parents an email, let them know, hey, your kid said this, we're gonna have to contact the authorities, all that sort of stuff, and then you get arrested, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just put yourself in their shoes. You are 14, 15. What else are you going to do with your best friend except for joke about what the fuck is going on? That is normal behavior. Let's talk about this. They're chatting casually about it. They're talking about posing for their mugshots while calling the whole thing a bonding experience. One reportedly says something along the lines of, "You got to look good for your mugshot." We're going to review her exact words while they giggle. And they seem unfazed about being in custody. These are girls coping. They are coping. They clearly, if you look at this video, you see two girls that clearly have horrible home lives. They have an horrific mother, by the way. You'll see footage of her later testifying for their release. She's like, I'm going to get her a therapist. I'm going to get her somebody to talk to. Prosecutors pointed out the behavior as evidence that the girls still pose danger to the community, arguing that it shows a lack of remorse and continuing threat level. So don't joke. If you're ever getting arrested, try not to joke about your situation because the people are going to be hurt and they're going to take it too damn seriously. Ladies and gentlemen, you just tried to kill your friend. That's the only bad thing you've done here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about the serious things. The recent bond hearing, the judge agreed with prosecutors and denied the release, keeping the teens in jail, and the cases are moving forward. The video has sparked widespread outrage and the concerns about youth violence, mental health, and the influence of dark trends online and obsessions. Some reports mention possible ties to fascinations with past school shooters like Adam Lanza. School officials and law enforcement acted fast on the tip to prevent any harm, and no one was injured, but the incident has rattled the Lake Brantley High School community, raising alarms nationwide about how to spot and stop such plots very early. Let's play this clip so that you can just get what the media's angle wants you to get. Let's review the clip of them actually after, and I can defend these two young girls because I think that just plotting to kill your friend, they didn't really do it, and I think if I was their lawyer, I could argue that it was just a joke. Let's do it.
Now, the two high school students in the back of a police car, they're accused of attempting to murder a fellow student. So why are they giggling?
Because it's funny.
They've just been charged with plotting to kill their classmate by slitting his throat. But they're treating their arrest as if it's one big goof. Check out the exchange when they're first placed in the police car.
Are you going to be in the same one?
What do you mean, same one?
Same jail?
Yeah.
They talk about their outfits.
Oh, you trying to look good for your mugshot? Oh, am I going to get a mugshot? Well, we're going to jail. What do you think?
And listen to how they describe the whole experience.
This is such a bonding experience. I love it.
It's very disheartening to see how they are laughing in the back seat of the car. They don't seem to be taking it very seriously. The video that
You are compiling a series of giggles over a course of about 20 minutes.
They thought this was cute.
14-year-old Lois Lippert and Isabel Valdez, 15, are charged as adults and laughing the entire way.
Both of the teens have pleaded not guilty. Yeah.
Both of the teens have pleaded not guilty. So this is the media slander version, ladies and gentlemen, but let's review the raw footage. here we have the two getting placed in the same car. And they go, are we going to be in the same one? Natural question if your friend is getting placed in the same car as you. Are we going to the same one?
Are we going to be in the same one?
What do you mean, same one?
Same jail?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't you celebrate if you and your friend were going to the same jail? That's something to celebrate, ladies and gentlemen. All right, continue. This is them getting placed in the same vehicle together, and then I'm going to skip forward a teensy bit, and then they're just bantering a tiny. They're bantering.
There was a tip shown. Did you not see it? No? Someone tipped. You fucking snitch.
You fucking snitch.
I don't know why I went and told the police he put the tip, though.
See, at first they're angry at each other. You don't see this part.
It was anonymous tip, but I was just assuming it was by the writing. Yeah. Just, like, it was... Yeah. Oh, my fucking God. But I knew I shouldn't have told him. Because he was like, oh, can you please tell me I can't sleep tonight? Fuck you! God.
That's funny. They're like, I shouldn't have told that skinny bitch.
Yeah, I got shown the tip and it was like, my friend's 15-year-old named, he goes by Jimmy, is planning to kill some dude. Yeah, and it was like, I don't really remember their real name, but I think it was Isabel.
Oh.
Yeah, it was spelled wrong too, so. God, she's such a fucking snitch. So that's immediately who I thought when I saw it.
That's immediately who I thought.
Tip.
God, that's a bumpy ride.
So stupid.
Stupid.
It's so cold in that room. I know. Dude, they had me sitting there and I was so... Dude, they took away my chocolate.
They took away my chocolate.
I was able to eat, like, a part of it, like a part of the big bar. Oh, yeah.
The big bar? Then, by the way, this girl is big. She is fat. And I know you shouldn't say that about is it a 14-year-old? Yes, I know you shouldn't say that about a 14-year-old, but admittedly, she just needs to control her caloric intake, or her mother needs to feed her less.
That's it. Were you really... Damn it. Bro, I wanted to come back to second period so I could have, like, nibbled on some with you. I was like, this was my main goal.
Bingo.
Because, like, they spent, like, an hour at the beginning just, like,
trying to...
I only realized that, like, then, like, I was like, yeah, that's just their preferred name. I don't know their real name, man, like, at all. Dude, they pulled up the security cameras and stuff, and they got to see us walking out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to see so much more. I was like, whoa, look, I'm on the cameras there.
These are two girls just bantering. I seen...
So cool, I was like, damn. I forget that there's just, like...
Listen, and by the way, do you expect them to show any sort of guilt right now? All they're doing is getting arrested. They have no evidence that they actually did anything.
Videos, yeah.
As far as they know.
Like that. I like the little lyrics. Hey. So, not a school shooting, at least. We'd be in prison for life. Yeah.
We'd be in prison for life, for sure. I love this. They immediately go to, hey, at least it's not another school shooting for real. And she's like, yeah, you're right. We'd get prison for life.
I touched the knife for a few seconds, yo. Gosh. Ow. I moved my hands.
Ow.
These are low-key more comfortable than us.
It'll make it hurt. You gotta keep it still.
These are more comfortable than... to stay still. God. These are
Yeah,
more comfortable than
she's overweight, so she's struggling a little bit with the handcuffs. They're hurting her hands, is what she's saying.
Last car I was in, police car, I had my things behind my back, but like, they had it like really bad and shit. I had to like go into like crazy positions to feel like, comfortable, and it was an hour-long car ride.
Ouch.
Dude, last time they didn't even put me in handcuffs. They just took me, and they let me take my stuff too. I was able to take like my little ponies, my plush, and my phone. Oh.
Nice.
And then they took my phone away. They took all my stuff away. Because they were like, you can't have this in there. So I was like, okay, whatever.
Okay, whatever.
I don't think I had
This seems like a girl who's willing to cooperate with the police. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
On me, but I got my shirt taken away. I think it like went off the sleeve a little bit.
Went off the sleeve?
I wasn't allowed. Ooh. Yeah, promiscuous. We're gonna become one of those lesbian couples now. Yeah.
Little lesbian couple. What?
Yes. Hey.
Making butch jokes.
Stay away. Yeah. You trying to look good for your mugshot?
she's like checking her hair. Okay, the one with the curly hair, the browner one, looks at the white girl with the dyed hair and says, "You trying to look good for your mugshot?" And she's like, "Yeah, that is what, girls are concerned about. They want to look good for their mugshot."
You trying to look good for your mugshot? Oh shit, am I gonna get a mugshot? What, we're going to jail? What do you think? Yes.
But that is really funny. She's like, "Well, we're going to jail. What do you think?"
I was gonna do my makeup this morning for the mugshot, but I couldn't find anything. I'm glad I don't actually look too bad today. I look horrible. It's over.
It's over.
Don't worry, you're the bunch. It doesn't matter if you look bad. Hey, at least they were gonna see me some way or another in the mugshot.
Yeah.
We're supposed to spread our story around.
I like how they think about how their mugshot is going to make them look. They're like, at least we only have a mugshot to worry about. They have no inkling in their mind. I understand they're maybe 14, 15. I understand that they might not watch the body cam or the car cam footage of videos on YouTube where druggies are getting beat up in the back and all that stuff. I understand that might not be a part of their daily viewing habits or anything, but you have to realize they have eyes on you all the time. They always know what you're doing and they have a record of it. So never be cocky when you're getting arrested. Never have an attitude, because if you're being judged by a jury of your peers, it never looks good for you.
The TCC though. Hey, these are two stupid retards from Florida that couldn't. No, do not. Yes. This was you helped me get materials. No. You were gonna see the photos.
Uh-oh. Now they're like, you did this, you did that.
So over for you, little boy. Oh. Dude, I was thinking, like, I had time to think after, just like, I was there, like, I don't know how they're gonna, like, imagine telling,
Oh, and they skip. I like how they cut out parts to protect their privacy.
I wrote him a note, and I was like, yeah, I'm not guilty for my actions, but, I was like, I don't feel guilty for my actions, but I feel guilty on how you were gonna feel, because honestly, I don't fucking care. But, like, I should
girls, you're not making it easy for me to help you. You're not making it easy. When we have to have this played in the courtroom, I'm just going to put my head on the desk, and I'm just going to go, all right, well, kids, have you guys ever had kids? Kids, they joke, you know what I mean? And they make references to stuff that's inappropriate because it's funny, and they may say that they don't feel bad for plotting to murder their friend in some sort of ritualistic, but admittedly, this is what they see the elites do. They see Lady Gaga doing this. They see Lady Gaga eating from a tin, not a tin, but like a bathtub with a body rotting in it with a bunch of blood. They see her doing these ritualistic sacrifices and getting rich. So they believe that this is the model for success. So what else would they expect? I think I would pin it all on the Epstein files corrupting these young girls' heads.
at least try. But I did write a note to my parents. Did they you write one? You should have asked. They said I'm going to be able to contact my parents when we get there. Me too. I haven't talked to my parents yet. I don't even know if my parents know what's going on.
They don't.
My mom's gonna be yelling at me through the phone. What are you gonna do? Why are you trying to kill this fucking kid? I think my mom's gonna be okay.
Why'd you try to kill this fucking kid?
She's probably fucking with me. Like, when they're asking me, like, do you really want to lie? Would your parents really want you lying for Jamie? Like, yeah, they would.
Look at that. Look, these young girls have such horrible models at home. They have such horrible parents that she just went, hey, would your mom want you to lie to the police? And she goes, yeah, she would. This is a joke to her. Her mother's responsibility factor is a joke.
They made me swear to tell the truth.
No.
Hey, Lois.
They made me swear to tell the truth.
At least we're together now.
At least we're together now. Listen, I'll leave it in the description if anybody else wants to see any more parts of it, because I don't think it's helping with the visual aid. So I just want to make it clear. I am ready and willing to defend. I'm ready and willing to pass the bar exam in Florida. We can make this work. I do charge a medium fee of $45 trillion, ladies and gentlemen. So just this is just letting you know for my future law corporation. How do we make $1 trillion work? We do a monthly payment for the rest of your life. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go ahead and move on to the rapid fire section of today's headlines, because there's too much to talk about in the world around you. So we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about the stuff that really matters, like, for example, chaos erupting in Florida during a spring break gathering, ladies and gentlemen. This is Daytona Beach, Florida, a scoundrel's den, quite frankly. All of the west and east coasts of Florida's, the west and east coasts of Florida, they turn into a hotbed of criminals and thieves and children looking to have fun. And admittedly, this one was not this was an what's it called? An unapproved? Is that the proper term? Spring break gathering. And this actually, I'll leave the link in the description so people can get a look at it. But the predominant theme that I'm seeing here is that it's a lot of it's a lot of disorganized people. They're just sort of dancing. They're jumping on each other. They're not really. They don't look like they're doing it. They don't look like they're having a barbecue. They don't look like they're having a dance party. They don't look like anything. They just look. Some of them look like they're fighting. Anyways. This, authorities in Daytona Beach are addressing the spring break chaos over the weekend. Officials say that there was an unsanctioned spring break gathering that brought large crowds to the beach. During the chaos, there was a claim that a shooting had happened, which sent people running for cover. Let's take a look at this clip. I'll let you get the visual aid. And then they scatter.
Are addressing spring break chaos seen over the weekend. Maybe you've seen the videos of the crowds on social media. Here's just some of them if you haven't. Officials say there was an unsanctioned spring break gathering that brought large crowds.
It looks like Carnival Cruise.
And during the chaos, there was a claim that a shooting had happened, which sent people running for cover. We heard from the Volusia County Sheriff.
The beach was trashed, as you would expect when you have that many people coming in there. So we'll see what this week has in store for us.
The sheriff says there were 4 shootings that happened Saturday, but were not related to the beach crowds.
Daytona Beach takeover. A lot of Snapchat stories are saying, how fun, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to be a part of one of those takeovers that we were talking about, that lady from Brooklyn, she was hilarious. No, the Bronx, excuse me. She was hilarious. She was very funny on it. She was succinct, and she made a lot of great points. Trump and Xi summit has been postponed. They've have had a planned high-stakes summit between the U.S. and China, and it's been postponed, unfortunately, due to the Iran war. The delays in critical negotiations on trade and global stability, while China has signaled the opposition to U.S. actions and closer alignment with Iran diplomatically. We have reason to be nervous. I'm not saying you do. If you're off in the middle of nowhere, like I said, a lot of this is going to take a long time to reach you. Eggs might get a little bit more expensive in the future, or not eggs, excuse me, maybe pharmaceuticals. There's a major U.S. vote law battle in the Senate. The Senate is preparing to debate the Save America Act, a sweeping election reform bill that would require proof of citizenship and restrict mail-in voting. It's one of the most consequential voting rights fights in decades that could reshape U.S. elections if passed. Honestly, I have no issue with the idea of voter ID. I think most people, common sense people, around 82%, I believe the statistic was last time that I saw, 82% of Americans support this bill. So I think and the national average might be even higher. I think that I'm not saying that the national average is different from the whatever. I'm trying to say Gallup. I'm trying to cite different texts or whatever you want to call it. BORG. Do not drink BORG, ladies and gentlemen. This is a drinking trend that's going viral, and why is it dangerous? This is out of Fox Chicago.
St. Patrick's Day got wild in Chicago. Gallon jugs were everywhere. Did you notice police were seen pouring green juice down drains? And now parents and doctors are talking about a drink called BORG. Stands for Blackout Rage Gallon.
Blackout Rage Gallon.
Exactly is this? Apparently it's made up of a lot of alcohol, sweeteners, caffeine, and electrolytes.
This BORG phenomenon is basically taking a gallon jug and using about a fifth of alcohol. So that's the equivalent of about 16 to 17 drinks of alcohol.
Oh my God.
And kids are under the impression, because they mix this with electrolytes or different caffeinated beverages so that it tastes more tolerable, that it actually has some benefit that can outweigh the risk of alcohol.
Wow.
And of course, that isn't true, and
how do you know?
leads to the overconsumption of alcohol and alcohol poisoning and a lot of the bad effects that we're all aware of.
Yeah, that we're all aware of, ladies and gentlemen. Busted. There were drugs hidden throughout a Houston home. Even the refrigerator and oven DEA agents and HPD seized more than 4,000 vape pens, 75 pounds of THC wax, marijuana, mushrooms, and cocaine. Oh my God! This house is it's glowing. It's like the room of treasures that you find at the end of a long journey. Look at this thing.
DEA agents searched this Houston home and found drugs hidden everywhere, even inside of the refrigerator and oven. This is what they seized: 4,000 vape pens, 75 pounds of THC wax,
nice.
42 pounds of marijuana, and 3 pounds of mushrooms and cocaine.
Wow.
Thousands of illegal products taken off the street in a single bust.
A single bust. What a loss. I'm crying right now, ladies and gentlemen. Illinois Senate. I gotta focus on something else before it gets emotional. The Senate primary becomes a national test. A high-profile Democratic primary in Illinois is drawing national attention as a proxy battle between the progressive and moderate wings of the party. With major Senate seat opens, while a major Senate seat opens, the outcome could signal future ideological directions for the Democrats ahead of broader elections. Ooh, very fun. Denmark's prime minister is facing tough re-election odds. Denmark's prime minister, Mette Frederiksen, is seeking a third term, and amid criticism over domestic policies and leadership style. Despite her strong international profile, including clashes with Trump, she faces a competitive election shaped by the economic concerns and political trust issues. Global oil and economic shock fears are all over the place. The Iran conflict has disrupted energy supplies, pushing oil prices above $100 per barrel and threatening global inflation and recession risks. Countries heavily dependent on Middle Eastern oil, especially Asia and Europe, are bracing for economic fallout, man. This is going to be tough. I don't know where it's going to go from here. I can't make any promises. What I can promise is that there is new speed limits coming to the city of New York City. I don't know when. I can't predict when, but they are imminent. That's at least what the new mayor is saying.
It is a goal of our administration to lower the speed limit across the city to 20 miles an hour. That, however, is something that can only be done with a local law change to the city administrative code, and we do support the city council taking those efforts.
Lowering the speed limit to 20 miles an hour. That's low. That is low. That is real. I heard the current speed limit, or at least in most areas, is 25. So the current goal is to reduce that by 5 miles an hour. You're moving like a snail. It's going to be, you think it takes a while to get from Midtown to the financial district, man, you are going to be adding, I don't know, however many minutes. I don't live there, thank God. Ladies and gentlemen, let's cover our final story so that I can give you the freedom that is the rest of your Tuesday, whatever you may do with it. Go. In relation to our last story, the mayor of New York City, he says if New York property taxes are going to go up 9.5%, what does this mean for you in real dollars? We're going to break down how it's going to impact New York wallets. For homeowners, condos, or co-op owners, the hit would come directly through higher annual property tax bills. New York City's property taxes are already one of the biggest chunks of the city's revenue, around $33 billion annually. And a 9.5% across-the-board increase could add thousands of dollars per year depending on your property's value and class. For example, if your current annual property tax bill is around $8,000 to $10,000, a common range for many single-family homes or modest condos in Brooklyn or Queens, that 9.5% bump could mean a single-family home or modest condo, as we covered in Brooklyn or Queens, could have an extra $760 to $950 a year, or roughly $60 to $80 per month thrown on top. In higher value areas like the Manhattan region, where median sales prices are over $1.2 million, an added cost could easily top several $1,000s annually. Experts are saying this will squeeze budgets, potentially making homeownership tougher for middle-class families and first-time buyers. No duh. Even if you're renting or don't pay property taxes directly, you'd likely feel the ripple effects. Landlords, especially owners of large apartments in Class 2 properties, would face the biggest proportional increase under NYC's complicated tax system. Many would pass those costs through higher rents, you know what I mean, during lease renewals or by raising asking prices for new tenants. Reports suggest that for the typical $3,000 monthly apartment in the city, a full 9.5% tax hike passed through could push rent up by $285 a month, around $3,285. That's hundreds of extra dollars a year coming out of the renters' pockets on top of the already high living costs. Some analysts warn that this could worsen the housing affordability crisis, hitting lower and middle income tenants the hardest, while luxury condos might see relatively lighter impacts due to how tax classes are structured. This isn't a done deal yet. It's a contingency in the preliminary budget, and negotiations with Governor Hochul and the state legislature could change everything. If it goes through, it would generate billions in new revenue for the city. Estimates put it around $3.7 billion starting the new 2027 fiscal year, but critics argue that it could slow the housing market, discourage investment, or lead to service cuts elsewhere if not handled carefully. For now, it's sparking big debates about who should shoulder the burden: everyday New Yorkers via property taxes or higher earners through other means. What are those other means? They never tell you. Bottom line is that a 9.5% property tax increase is going to mean real noticeable dollars coming out of your wallets. Let's get this from NBC New York.
We would have to raise property taxes.
If New York City property taxes go up 9.5%, what would that mean for you? I'm Linda Beccaro, and this is part one of a look at what Mayor Mamdani's proposal would mean for you in real dollars. We're not talking any politics here, just what it means to your wallet. So, for example, let's say you're a homeowner in Brooklyn and you pay maybe just under $8,000 a year in property taxes. Well, a 9.5% property tax increase would add $63 a month to your family budget. We're talking like 15 extra coffees that could have if you didn't have to pay this extra money. Then in a year, that would add up to $760.
$760? Whatever. You don't need that money, do you? Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you enjoyed this set of stories. I hope that you enjoyed listening to them. I enjoyed collecting them for you. We will be doing this for the rest of the week, Wednesday through Friday. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want more, subscribe, ring the bell. I hope that you'll join us for further episodes. I'm glad that you joined us for this one. In the meantime, this has been Ollie Vogt Larson with Your Brain on Air. Thank you so very much for listening, and I'll see you in the next broadcast, and bye-bye.